So many of you may have seen the new launch of the Lamborghini Countach, and I was looking at it going, you know what, I think it's missing a few specific things, and one of which is those big bulges that were up on the haunches of the car that sucked air in and looked incredibly vicious. So I went ahead and I decided, you know what, I'll make my own. So that's what I've done here. I've done kind of like I don't know, it's not really exactly a Countach, but it's as close to a Countach as I could do, whilst also adding my own little style and flair onto it. If Lamborghini made this car, I would be very happy. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't think that the new Countach is worth $2 million, but still, it's pretty epic. Now, I also haven't bothered to figure out how to do a hybrid yet either, so instead of me trying to make the hybrid, I decided instead to just go ahead and make myself a slightly more powerful, naturally aspirated version. So I went with something a lot like the Aventador's engine, except for the fact that it stroked out from a 6.5 to a 6.7 liter. So it's a fairly big and hefty engine, but we are creating just a little bit more power than they were creating with their hybrid system, but you kind of need to make up for the fact that the hybrid system adds all the power right here. Now, it's not much power, but just to kick off that line, that's a lot of power. And you can see up here that we're accidentally making a little too much wheel spin. So let's give this one a bit of a try. Now, we put a dual clutch in it because that's what a lot of car companies are going with these days. Oh, I'm getting low FPS. What the hell? My frame counter is at 27 FPS. Damn, the only thing that's different is I opened up OBS. Previously, I was getting 60. What? Also, another thing that the new car hasn't done is it hasn't done a radical exhaust. So I specifically made sure that mine was quite visible and into mufflers. So because it's in mufflers, it's not deafeningly loud. It's not a quiet car, but it's not an exuberantly overloud car. But the piece de resistance, the one thing that I missed was the fact that they're only going to make a few of these, and none of them seem to have this big giant wing on the back. Now, I know that the triangular wing, the delta wing, was not a particularly great wing design, but I'm pretty sure there's a way to make it work. And, well, it also was kind of necessary with this car. I found there was quite a few problems, one of which was snap oversteer, and to deal with that, we've got nearly no camber on the front and extra camber on the rear, but also buttloads of downforce on the rear so then I could get bigger tires on the front without the car just constantly oversteering all the time. This car was actually quite tricky to design, and I also did it in my new challenge way, which is to do it blind. I would design the car the way in which I think it should be designed, turn off all of the graphs so I never see them, and then bring them over to BeamNG and then tweak one thing at a time, and by God, this thing has nearly a race setup of suspension style, extra traction set to the rear because this thing would snap oversteer, and extra downforce on the rear. Now, you may not recognize it, but this is not actually a downforce adding rear diffuser, but there is actually extra downforce added in here to be able to help me with actually getting the downforce that we need. Now, I know I also couldn't get the taillight design. I tried to make it custom, but trying to do this custom didn't really fit with this body style, unfortunately. So let's just give this thing a bit of a hard go. Now, I've got it set into manual control here, so let's rev it out to 10,000 RPM and drop that clutch. This thing is fast. Oh my God. We're already going 200 kilometers an hour, 250. Now, what's it? 260, 330 kilometers an hour is 200 miles an hour, and we're almost there. Yes, okay, we went over. Oh my God, I have never seen a car stick like this on the wall before. What? All right, I've seen some hefty accidents, but that is a new level. Oh my God. It's just hanging there, as if it was inserted into a portal and then the portal shut off. But then you have a look at this side and you got the drive shaft coming through. Hold on, Control T this. Oh my God. It's literally hanging there. It's not touching the ground. Oh my God. That is epic. That has to be one of the best accidents. I can't stop looking at it. I'd say it's like a train wreck. You just can't stop looking, but this is literally a car wreck that you can't stop looking at. Oh my god. Now, I don't have anything fancy like a supercapacitor to be able to get the sort of performance that they have, but we're going to try anyway with our extra, probably about 20 to 30 horsepower, and see what our 0 to 100 is. 0 to 100 is in 2.14 seconds. Oh my god, that is oh my god. Also, this thing has so much torque that it almost overcomes the brakes. Like, this is me full braking. It creeps to a stop. It just doesn't want to. So far, that would make it the most powerful... Oh, sorry. So far, it is like tenths of seconds faster, which is insane, faster than the fastest cars in the world. But if we have a look at the 0 to 60 miles an hour, which is 97 kilometers an hour instead of 0 to 62 miles per hour, they are a little bit heftier numbers, but also the Tesla Plaid, I think that's a real number and not their fake number. My car actually does, like if we go by Tesla's theology on how to time these things, my car does 0 to 60 in 0 seconds. Like, it's instantly doing it if you knock out the first 0 to 60 miles per hour. But yeah, so far, this is the fastest car in the world. I want to do a 100 kilometers an hour to 0 test. So first, we get up to 100. So we'll do that in 2.14 seconds. Oh, well, let's do it from 200 miles an hour. 200, stop! Now, our brakes aren't particularly great, but... Oh, come on! I forgot that I should switch this thing into a neutral gear because it can't overcome the engine. Alright, and get to where we want to be, and then put it in neutral and brake. And that's a pretty good braking distance. We started at 102 kilometers an hour, 2.28 seconds, so it accelerates to 100 quicker than what it decelerates to 100. That's crazy. And then we do it in 29 meters. That is a really good car. As for our cornering, though, I've kind of gone with the more of an ethos of the original car, which is to not be particularly great. The car handles decently. I didn't want to make it over bonkers with downforce, because this car is meant to be Euro emissions compliant. So, yeah, you can understand where I'm coming from here. So let's get this thing out of this aerodrome or airport or whatever you want to call it, and get this thing a bit of a test around the mountain roads. Let's just see how much fun this is. Oh god! Almost oversteered into a wall there. Yes, this car has a little bit of an oversteer issue. And we are free at 200 kilometers an hour, which is blasting out of there. This thing is so easy to get up to 200 kilometers an hour. It's just absolutely insane car. All right, let's rig it around a little bit. Got ourselves a bit of a roundabout. Come on through. Where is our hill climb? I don't want to take this up Pikes Peak, but I do want to take this up a bit of a hill climb. Here we go. Yeah, okay. I remember doing this one as a bit of a challenge against Mudjet once. So we're going to give that a bit of a try up here and just see how much better I've got. Okay, well, that immediately sucked. So let's try that again. Okay, kick that sideways out quite a lot. We get a little bit of lift up on the front sometimes and a little bit of understeer, but honestly you need a little bit of understeer because anytime you put your power down, if you're not in a straight line, the thing is going to kick out sideways. So unfortunately there's some sacrifices that need to be made with this car that makes over 800 horsepower. I need to switch this over to automatic. I know that's gonna hurt my braking ability, but the car is really tricky. Oh god. Let's refresh that and try that again. Oh my god, as I remember, this going up this part of the hill is super tricky. Oh god, damn. Okay, so braking on this like unperfect road, or imperfect road is probably the word I should be using there, is really not particularly great, and the braking distance always feels a little bit longer than what you'd expect considering how quickly this thing accelerates to 100. And slow it down for the corner. Yep, good. Turn in. This thing has really wide front tires, but yet it still understeers quite badly. But I think that has to do with the fact that I had to fix that snap oversteer with lots of oh Oh, God. Okay, coming over that ridge, we just lost all traction on the front just then. But yeah, dealing with that snap oversteer we'd have, like, no matter what I did, coming through the slingshot on the automation test track, this thing, God damn it. It would just snap oversteer and suddenly go sideways at, like, even slower speeds. I would slow the thing down to 200 kilometers an hour and the thing would still snap oversteer. It was such an annoyance. Okay, slow it down here. Get it slowed down. Get it slowed down. Get it slowed down. Come on. Oh, this thing needs jet thrusters on the front to be able to slow it down better. You know how the Tesla was meant to have, like, jet thrusters to help it accelerate faster? This thing needs that, except on the front, to help it slow down more, because it doesn't slow down quite as much as what you'd like. And you don't want too much aerodynamic downforce, because that really hurts your emission standards, and then the Euro gets on your back. And this is an Italian car. Oh, God. Ah! Shit. So it is privy to all the Euro things that it has to comply with and constantly get better and better. I would make it a hybrid, but I mean, I know it's possible. I've seen other people do it. I've just not bothered to do it myself yet. And that is something I will have one day. I swear I'll do it. Oh, okay. A little too much power oversteer there. Got me all crossed up. Also, I'm not giving it the most amount of attention as I could, because I am talking to my fellow gentlemen here. Oh, God. And gentlewomen. Apparently, braking with 3 wheels is not as effective. So even though I tried to brake earlier, it just wasn't going to work out ever. Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. Okay, yes. All right, now, that rear delta wing that we have on the back is actually creating quite a bit of downforce for me, and I hope that it would do that in real life, even if it has to be a multi-element wing, which I couldn't be bothered trying to do with this particular wing because it's tricky. Yeah, I mean, come on. All right, is there any, like, super narrow roads? I want to see what this thing would be like to really drive around Italy. Okay, here we go. Super narrow roads. You know what? It is maneuverable still. Yes. Now, I know that the original COUNTACH was rear-wheel drive and their new vehicles are all-wheel drive. I decided to go with the new all-wheel drive style because with the Euro emissions, you're going to need a lot of traction. And that means basically all-wheel drive is your go-to without having to do behemoth amounts of downforce, which would ruin your emissions targets. So, I mean, a lot of people may say, oh, but I like rear-wheel drive, it's better. I would say, okay, well, apparently, that little bit of a ding has stuffed up my car, and now it won't drive properly. Oh, no, it just won't reverse properly. Okay. But now we have no front traction at speed, so we have to be careful about that. Oh, God, and I seem to have affected my steering. This car is not a delicate beauty. This thing is quite the brute, which is kind of what you really want from a Lamborghini. You don't want something that's going to be nice and cushy and do everything you want it to do. You want to feel rewarded when you've fully mastered the car. It's a Lamborghini. They're meant to be a little bit crazy. I know that Audi has tamed them quite a bit, and I do like some of their things, and I don't like some of their things. But, I mean, what's the benefit of having a nice, smooth car? Apart from being able to live and not crash your car all the time. I mean, it's nothing. Come on. Huh! Okay, well, that sucked. Screw it. Let's just do a drag race now and compare it to the other cars. Now, this is where most people are going to be sending their new $2 million hypercars to. So let's see how we do. 5 seconds, 6, 7, 8. Oh my God, an 8.9 second quarter mile. That must be really up there on the limits of cars. Now, I did try to keep this to Euro spec as good as possible, and hopefully this is actually representative of what a real car could be over there. Well, it seems that we're also the fastest here. Faster than the Plaid, faster than a Bugatti Chiron Sport, a 765 LT. This is an exceptional car. Let's have a quick look at the weight. It is a 1,400 kilogram car. It's not actually a whole lot lighter than the lightest Lamborghini Aventador. So, I mean, this guy isn't really out of this world. I'm actually pretty good. I'm pretty happy. I like this. But let's show you the work that I've done by taking this around the automation test track, which is where I did most of my testing. And we're gonna see now we've got the thing set to sport, and away we go. Very fast off the line, slow down coming into the first corner, into the first bit of the S's, and then go around the big long corner. Now we do get a lot of understeer here, but if you just power on it a lot, the thing will start to kick out a little bit and become controllable. Now coming down into the first of the, oh god, I can't, Ban Hammerhead corners, and then slowing down into Ban Hammerhead. Oh, I didn't quite brake early enough, but we got it turned around and coming around here to the Cotswolds. Slow it down and bring it around. Yes, good. Okay, here's the back straight, guys. We're gonna see how fast this car goes. And now, you have to be very careful on the back straight because of the whole snap oversteer that was happening before, but I think I have it fixed. Yes, coming around. Oh, it wants to snap oversteer, but that rear camber is really holding it in place. And then slow down to the 250-meter board because this car is really fast and the brakes are not the best things in the world. They are pretty big, but ABS just wants to work overtime on them. I reckon if I was able to figure out... Oh, God, no, I think I braked too late. Braked too late! Oh, what a ruined lap. As I was saying, I think if I was to get ABS to work the way that I wanted it to on this car, I would probably be dealing with a much better car. My frame rate is tanking. I have nothing open but this, Steam, and OBS right now, and it is really not doing quite well. And slow it down into Adam's apex. Oh, come on, Adam. Screw you. I don't know who Adam is, but screw you, man. That corner sucks. All right, let's bring it down to Cossacks now. Brake nice and early, get it turned the right way, and then get it pointing directly out of here because the thing understeers, the snap oversteers, depending how you do it. And then Lamb's Hope is absolutely atrocious. And then we come down the start-finish line to the end, and we've done a 151, which actually I think is faster than what automation says this car can do. That's a pretty darn fast lap. I'm gonna have to actually start creating a list for my times here with these cars. Now, I suppose a bunch of you are going to want to know quite a bit how I made this car, and we're not going to go over the designing of the car very much. We're going to go basically over the car. So we started with ourselves a 2020 model year car, even though that we probably should have 2021 or 2022 by now with the way things did it. And then I used the 1995 Lamborghini body. I mean, it doesn't say Lamborghini, but clearly that's meant to be like a Diablo. And here they call it Body Editor 00S Supercar Large Preview. Well done, guys. Great name. We went ahead and made everything carbon fiber. No extra quality here, to let you know. This is a not overly super priced car. Then we got pushrod front and rear mid-longitudinal, as you'd expect. Here's our fantastic power number from our almost 7-liter V12. And I made myself a nice carbon fiber intake, but also, once again, not ballistically overmade. It is a 5-valve, so we don't have variable valve lift, as you might be able to guess. We've only gone with forged and lightweight and forged again. I didn't want to have to go with lightweight forged titanium. Like, you'd probably do that for marketing, but just for making the car, you don't need to. Though I did make the quality a little bit higher because it's Lamborghini, you still would have extra quality. As you can see here, only a little bit of a quality bit there, variable valve time. You can profiles up a little bit. You still want to be able to keep those Euro people happy. A huge compression ratio because we do not have turbos, even though I think I might do a turbo smaller version of this car at some point, but probably only for myself. We went with multi-point per cylinder configuration. As you can see there, we don't have just one, we do have individual throttle bodies, and then a higher quality fuel. But this is a supercar. You're not buying a supercar and going, I'm gonna buy the cheapest fuel because I'm a cheap and stingy person. No, you're buying this and you're treating it nicely. The fuel mixture is not bazonkersly high. Our ignition timing is fairly high. Our RPM limit goes just shy of 10,000. And the quality here is only a little bit better. So these aren't just a regularly designed ignition system or fuel system for these cars. These are bespoke parts. And as for the exhaust, you can see that it's a very standardized 3.5 dual racing exhaust, you do want something that looks flashy when you lift the hood up, and oh boy does that look flashy. Into a high flow three-way catalytic converter, which, I mean, I've not really looked up what a three-way is. I suppose I could just go here and have a look and figure out what that is, but that's too much reading. And this doesn't explain anything about what a three-way is. It just says, this is what a catalytic converter does, which it doesn't help with greenhouse gases, it helps with smog, letting people know that this does not help the world. It helps your local area with breathing quality. And yes, it does actually shorten your life if you have lots of smog. And then for a high flow three-way, it just says it works like a regular three-way, except flows better. Fuck you! That doesn't help me at all! And then, yeah, just a little bit higher quality. Like, they would die grind out the inside of those exhaust joiners and all that sort of stuff. Double flow a little bit nicer. I mean, that's the bare minimum specs from a handmade engine. Then as for the design, I will go over a little bit. So this is actually two grill parts, as you might be able to tell there and there. But I had to put in a little bit of a plate here. As you can see, the cutout there was because it created a lip inside there. Now, the reason why I've done this here is the Lamborghini COUNTACH didn't just have a grille like the new COUNTACH does. It had a bumper in there, so I thought I would do a little bit better of a design by having the small grille, but then having the bumper in there, and then I thought I would modernize it with a larger lower grille, and then topped off with having a nice little splitter there that I think works fairly well. And then on the side here, I did have this sort of grill. Now, if you... Oh, hold on. There we go, this sort of vent. But it looked really weird with its overbit there, and I had to clean it up a little bit. So we chopped a little bit away with a cutout that went along there. And you can see here that when you have a look at the actual car, let's go to free roam. You can see that that is a nice clean line along there. Now, you can see a little bit of where the cutout was, but it does look much nicer than just having that big, bold, thick line along there. I would do it for all of it, but that's too much effort. Now, the original car also had these little, I can't remember what sort of vents these are called, but they have a specific name on them. And I decided to put them in, not exactly where they were previously, but I did a pretty good approximation. The body design is not exactly the same as the original COUNTACH. Now, coming onto the rear here, we've got I wanted to have just the joint in between the two lights like the original, but it didn't really work very well. So I went with a much bigger design, but then split it up like that to give it that single grille along the middle there. Now, you'll notice on the original COUNTACH as well, the middle underbit of the car is cut away quite a bit. And that's what I decided to do here. I made this really high rear diffuser and then quite a really large amount. And I think that's also come out quite nicely. It's also allowed me to show off this exhaust in the way in which I really wanted to. To have that also split cross-design muffler that you see in a lot more modern cars. I wanted to make it a part of the styling. And yeah, I am pretty happy. I am particularly happy, even though it looks a little bit dodgy, with how I was able to do this. And they really weren't able to pull off that haunches design there for the big vents. And also, I think my lights are a little bit better. You'll notice that on the original COUNTACH, you got little small lights and then the pop-ups. But unfortunately, due to regulations, you're not allowed to have lights on a moving part of car bodies. So it's also not great for aerodynamics. So if you want to go fast, and a lot of people will go fast at night, because then it's harder for cops to spot. I don't know why people do it at night. Maybe there's less people on the road. But yeah, I decided to go with that and then give it that bit of a pop-up look with this, except it didn't look right above the light, so I had it below the light. And that's just a little bit of air ventilation there getting into the car. Overall, I would say that this is a fairly, like, you look at this car and you say, is that meant to be like a COUNTACH? Primarily because of these vents here. Whereas you look at the new COUNTACH, you go, I mean, it looks like they're doing a retro thing. You may not instantly think COUNTACH unless you look at the rear, but with the tail wing that I've got on here, it just looks so much more like a COUNTACH than what they did. But let's get away from the nitpicky, the thing that I don't like about their car, and I do like a lot about their car. But what I had to do here, and let's actually have a look at the graph for the first time. Oh, that was a good top speed. Now, 359 kilometers an hour is this many miles per hour, which I know instantly is over 200 miles an hour, which is kind of the bare minimum 200 miles per hour for a supercar that you would want. And also, you see that my spacing is fairly high. I found that, like, reaching the top speed, this was like a nice number to reach. But my spacing, I found that my lower gears sucked quite a lot, so I brought that down quite a bit. And you can see here that the overlap is almost perfect there for getting a nice gear ratio in between all the gears. Now, here's where I diverged a little bit. I wanted to do a regular type LSD, but then I thought, you know what, they're owned by Volkswagen Audi Group, and the Volkswagens have incredibly complex LSD designs that are all electronically controlled, so I decided to go with an electronically controlled LSD. I'm not sure if the new the new COUNTACH has it, but I decided to go with that. Now, the power distribution, you may also notice, at 50-50, don't you want more to the rear? Well, this was all in the hopes of solving that snap oversteer I had, which sucked absolute balls. Now, we're about to look at grass oversteer and understeer, and okay, that's fairly good. Also, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to have, like, regular sized tires. So I went and had a look at Lamborghini Aventador tires, and this is the width of Aventador tires that they had. I suppose I didn't really check the rim diameter that they have, but I went with something that just looked nice. And I think that those tires do look fairly nice. And these wheels were also very specifically chosen. And carbon fiber wheels is a very common thing you'll see on more modern cars, especially if you go into the effort to give yourself the pushrod suspension. The carbon fiber humed wheels do look pretty good. As for our brakes, until a brake update comes, they were just big ass one piston brake calipers. And that's actually usually how I would tune it. I feel as if maybe I should have had more rear brake force, but then that would hurt me in slower braking scenarios around hairpins. But going around the larger corners or like the larger braking distances from say 200 kilometers an hour, I probably actually would have benefited from better rear brake bias. As for the wings, you can see here that I had to reduce the front wing downforce a huge amount and put a huge amount of extra rear downforce because it was at high speeds that snap oversteer would happen, say on that slingshot corner on the back straight. This was just an absolute nightmare. And you'll see that the engine doesn't overheat a lot by the amount of air cooling that this thing has. Like, it's down to 46 and the thing was still not overheating. It was pretty darn good. Though I did notice my brakes were overheating a little bit. More so on like the extra laps, the more laps you did. This is not so much a road thing, but a track thing. So I thought, you know what, let's just add a little bit of brake airflow. And as you can see, there is a lot of airflow to pull from. So I just vented a little bit of that to the brakes, and that really did solve the issue quite a bit. If you're driving to the absolute Raggedy Ann edge of this car, yes, you can overheat the brakes on a racetrack, but they will come down relatively quickly anytime you reach any sort of straight. Also, a little bit of extra quality because this is not just a regular car that's just put together. This is a hand bespoke car. They put a little bit of extra quality into the aerodynamics. Okay, yeah, you can go away, please. How do I... Oh, yes, you right click on it to get rid of that. Now, as you can see here, I didn't go the lightest things possible. I do have 2 actual seats in there. It is handmade and a premium infotainment. So that's adding a lot of extra weight. We got hydraulic, we got ABS, no traction control because... yeah, no thanks. Then safety, we got like regular safety, not a huge amount of safety, and it's done a pretty good job. As for the springs, it's always, with me, with aerodynamic cars, going to be a progressive spring, and then I went gas monotube and passive. I thought about going active, actually, sorry. Originally, I did go an active sport, but it just didn't handle well, like something was wrong. I'm not sure if there's actually anything different about it, but I decided to go back to a progressive gas monotube and passive style setup. And you can see here that yes, we have more camber on the rear than we do on the front. That has hurt our slow speed, but this is not a slow speed car. As for our testing, now we're gonna see how my lap time compares to their lap time. Oh my goodness. I was seconds, like whole seconds faster than their lap with a controller. That's pretty darn epic. Oh, apparently also this thing has a high load capacity. And it can tow 3 tons. I mean, realistically, I think that would kill a dual clutch for a car like this, but I mean, it says it can do it. Oh, damn. There is only one thing, however, left to do with this car, and that's to test the top speed. Now, I don't want you to look at the dial down here, the gauge. This doesn't give an actual speed readout. It's only the speed of the tires and wheels, and those things change and stretch and lose traction. But what we're going to be looking at here is the airspeed. As always, we're not going to cheat. We're actually going to do a real speed test, and that will give us basically the same thing as doing a trap speed, which is actually how these things are calculated. Not by anybody's speedo or a GPS speedo. We're actually doing a proper airspeed test. And we're already up to 240, 250, 270 kilometers an hour. We're nearly already at 200 miles per hour. And there we are, 200 miles an hour. And we're gonna get this thing up to as far as this car will go, and you can already see that there is a kilometer an hour difference between the two cars, which isn't so bad actually. This is an all-wheel drive car, so it has a fair amount of traction, and with lots of downforce, you're not going to be getting a lot of a disparity between the real speed and airspeed. So we're kind of actually quite cleanly maxed out at 338 kilometers an hour, which is what, 211 or 12 or something like that miles per hour. Yeah, I think we're done. All right, let's see what that actually is. That is 210 miles per hour. Pretty decent, guys. All right, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. I certainly have. Its high speed stability was actually pretty good there. That was some pretty hard jolts I gave it, and the thing still handled pretty darn well. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. I thought I'd try something a little bit different where I'd pre-make the car in this kind of way and then present it to you in the sort of way that I have. I hope you've enjoyed it. For me, it's a lot less stress with my coughing and stuff. I am fatigued all the time. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. But for now, goodbye. Oh, no, that overheating issue did actually happen. Oh no, it's lost so much power it won't even kick out oversteer and go sideways. Oh dear God, oh no. Well, I think that's the end of this car, and we're in for a hefty Lamborghini size repair bill.